Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to our podcast where we agree
To disagree.
on a lot of different things.
So, before we get started into today's topic, I just wanted to tell you a little bit of a story that happened to us over Thanksgiving. I hope that you guys had a really good Thanksgiving because we sure did. Ate lots of good food, and it was just really good to be back in Arizona and spending time with family. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know that I have 12 nieces and nephews, and we went down to Arizona to be with my sister and thanks. And my brother came down with his 6 kids. My sister has 4, and they came down to celebrate Thanksgiving with us. And my niece Gracie, I think she's 8.
She's like 7 or 8.
I think she's 8 because I think she
She's
just got
8,
baptized.
okay.
I think she's 8. Anyway, so she is just a firecracker. She's hilarious. She says it how it is, and we just adore her. She's so cute, but we always say she's like a 15-year-old stuck in like a 5-year-old's body. I don't know. It's just really funny. Now she's 8, but at the time. Anyway, my mom buys all the kids little crafts to do for like Christmas at Thanksgiving. She goes to Joann's, buys some crafts. So my mom's like, hey, you need to sit down and help the kids with their crafts. So I'm like, okay. So Gracie she loves me. So she comes over and she wants to sit right next to me. And then Brooklyn, my sister's daughter, she goes, did you know that Gracie didn't even know who you were? And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, she didn't even know who you were because of your brown hair. And so Gracie goes, yeah, I didn't know who you were until like the second half of the day because I just thought that you were Mykayla's sister. So it's just really funny. So I just start laughing. I'm like, okay. And then Gracie goes, so why'd you dye your hair brown? And so, of course, I was like, well.
It's a valid question.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. I just wanted to like change it up for winter, go dark a little bit because I've been blonde my whole life. So I just wanted to have fun and try something new. So anyway, she's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, I like you better blonde. And I'm like, wow, thanks, Gracie. And then she's like, yeah, Jonas could do better. And I'm just like, oh, do I really look that bad with brown hair? And
Clearly I'm the favorite uncle.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, Jonas didn't really like my brown hair either. He's gotten to like it. And now I'm just feeling like I got to go back to blonde because everyone loves the brown hair, but they're just like, it's just not you because I'm naturally blonde. So we'll see what happens with that.
For the record, I told you exactly this would happen. And you're like shocked. You're like, how come everyone thinks that I look different with brown hair?
Well, I know everyone would think I look different, but it's like, man, everyone's like, I like you better blonde. I'm like, okay, geesh. Okay, anyway, it was a great time. We had a lot of fun, and she's the cutest little thing. She still said, I still think you're really pretty. She's like she wasn't trying to be rude, but she's hilarious. She's funny. So anyway, then she was like, and I watch your YouTube videos of gymnastics. She's like, and it's so funny because all of them kept asking me, so are you still doing gymnastics? Are you still doing flips and tricks? And they're like, I'm like, no, I'm retired. They're like,
Sad.
you're retired? What? They just like don't understand. It's hilarious. But anyway, so for today's topic, we are going to be talking about crypto, which is Jonas's favorite thing to talk about. He's super good at it, understands it. I know nothing about it. And so we're going to dive into that.
We can't even agree or disagree just because Mykayla doesn't even try to learn anything about it.
I don't.
So
it's just confusing. I don't understand it, and I don't do the bills, so it's your job. And you're good at it, so I don't have to worry about it, which
That's
is
true.
nice.
It works out. So crypto is short for cryptocurrency. Quick definition. So cryptocurrency is a digital currency in which transactions are verified and records maintained by a decentralized system using cryptography rather than by a centralized authority, which would be like a bank or a credit card issuer.
Still don't get it.
Okay,
just kidding.
But you had some questions.
I know,
for me.
yes. So can you just explain to everybody what crypto is and how did you get into it?
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack. Disclaimer, I've been like in crypto for 2-3 years now. And I still don't know, I would say like most of it. Like it's very complex stuff, like the way it works and the technology behind it. So I'm still learning even, but a very, very basic explanation. Crypto really only makes sense if you understand the technology behind it, which is blockchain. Have you heard me talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know what it is?
No.
All right, this is why we're here. So I'll give you an idea of a blockchain. So it's like, let's say Mykayla and I we each have a notebook. I give you $20, and we each write down in our notebooks. Jonas gives Mykayla $20. That's a blockchain.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just on a much smaller scale. So instead of Mykayla and I writing down in notebooks with blockchain and crypto, there's thousands of computers, there's nodes, there's miners basically running calculations, verifying transactions, and so that the blockchain is essentially a ledger which records transactions. And so if I give you $20 in cryptocurrency, there's going to be a whole bunch of different records saying Jonas gives Mykayla $20. The reason that's cool is because let's say, so like going back to the notebook analogy, for it to work, like for blockchain to work, you need a lot of different, they're called nodes or computers, basically different endpoints that record those transactions. So with a notepad analogy, let's say it's me, you, and like 50 of our friends. Everyone writes down. Let's say someone steals your notebook and they write, Jonas gives Mykayla $200. Let's say you write that in your own because you want more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't work because everyone else's notebook says just $20. Does that make sense?
I guess it's still kind of confusing.
So that's kind of the security aspect behind blockchain. Is it's like almost impossible to hack because you'd need the computing power to not just hack like one computer, get control of like one endpoint, one node, but the majority of them. And even then, if there's a discrepancy, that raises red flags. So it's like, it's very, very secure technology.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
great.
cool. So that's blockchain. Cryptocurrency is built on top of it. And I want to make that distinction because a lot of people just think of crypto and like money and investing and trading and stuff. But really, like, crypto's cool. Blockchain is super cool because it has way more applications. Like,
try your best to put this in really simple terms for people. Okay.
I'm trying.
I'm learning here too.
So the blockchain is what I talked about, all those notebooks. So that can be used for things besides money. So like supply chain, logistics, like recording this item, this product went from here to here on this date and this time, from here to here, this date and this time. Just having like a decentralized ledger of transactions, whether it's with money or with products or items or even data information. It has so many applications. And so that could be a whole other podcast. And there's a reason why that hasn't been implemented yet, because that's one of those things that requires mass adoption. Like it's not just like we can snap our fingers and say, hey, let's just use blockchain, for finance, for the legal system, for supply chain, like for medical. Takes a lot. It's
won't that eventually happen though?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. Like the technology's sound.
Because you can buy houses with crypto now, right? Or not yet?
You can. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like, we're making incremental gains, but it's kind of like, think of it like Uber. Like, would Uber work if there was only a handful of people using it around the world?
Probably not. No.
No. Like the reason Uber works is because you can be anywhere, pretty much, and you can pull up an Uber and someone will pick you up. That's why it works. And so it's kind of the same thing with blockchain. Like, it's not really we're not gonna see it like in day-to-day life, or it's not really gonna be used a lot until we get that mass adoption, until a lot of people are using it. Going back to the notepad analogy, right? Like, if our blockchain is just me and you, that's not very secure, because all it takes is one person to be off, and then there's no majority. If there's 3 notepads, that's a little bit better, but the more you add, the more people that are verifying transactions independently, the more secure it gets. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, because like, for example, let's say I have 50 friends and you have 50 friends. We each have part of the blockchain. And so we write down that Jonas gives Mykayla $20, but you get with all your friends and you say, hey, let's make Jonas give me $200 instead, right? And so if you could convince your friends to change it, or if you could, steal someone else's notepad or do stuff, then you could potentially alter the record. So the more notepads we have, basically the bigger the blockchain is, the more people participate, the more people that are validating transactions, and the more nodes there are, the more secure it gets. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's wild.
yeah, and so crypto basically it's just information um, that the blockchain uses. No, crypto uses the blockchain to tell you where the money is and where it went. So crypto, it's not really, like, people say it's like fake or like magic internet money. All money is fake, really. Like a dollar bill is a piece of paper. Like your bank account balance, it's just a number. If everyone were to withdraw your bank account balance at once, we wouldn't be able to because there's not really that much money, that sort of thing. So like when you understand that, like all money is pretty much just an IOU. So crypto is just using blockchain technology to say, hey, like let's have a form of money where it's decentralized, which means all those different people having notepads independently running transactions, verifying stuff. That means decentralized. There's no one person that controls it. So like, there's no one person that controls like the Bitcoin blockchain, for example. No one controls Bitcoin. But if you have your money in a bank, that's what's called centralized because the bank controls it. So crypto kind of cuts out the middleman because I can send you money just from my crypto wallet to your crypto wallet. If you wanted to send me money from your bank to my bank, you can use a third party like Venmo or Cash App. So that's just another bridge. Or, you can send it directly from bank to bank, but then you have to do a wire. You have to pay for a wire. It's just kind of clunky. I can send you, there's no transaction limit, and I can send you as much money as I want, and it settles like very fast, and you have it, and there's no middleman. It's just from me to you.
So you said you could send me as much money as I want, huh?
Hypothetically, yes.
All right. Okay, well.
Mykayla likes this now.
Yeah, I do. I need to start doing this. So what makes crypto so interesting then?
Just because it's different. It cuts out the middleman. You don't need a bank. Like if everyone used crypto, like we would not need banks. What do you need a bank for? Like to store your money? With a crypto wallet, like you hold your own money. Now there is downside. Like it's not all positives, right? Like the downside is, think about it this way: you have your money in a bank that's insured, and the bank takes care of it. Like let's say the bank gets robbed, right? Like they have insurance, right? They'll still make your money there. If I have my money in a crypto wallet and if it gets hacked or if I lose my seed phrase or if I accidentally give it to the wrong person and it's gone, like there's no one in the world that can reverse that transaction. It's done. Like
who started crypto then?
So blockchain technology, the idea has actually been around for a long time, like cryptography. But using that for financial stuff, so cryptocurrency, that was started actually by a guy. No one really knows if it's a guy, a man or a woman or a group, but a person went by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto back in like 2008, I think, was when the first Bitcoin white paper came out. And he had this idea. He said, hey, like let's make a decentralized currency that's just peer-to-peer, cuts out the middleman, cuts out the bank, lets you have control of your own money. And then it's impossible to hack and it's impossible to... So another good example, the reason I got into cryptocurrency, which kind of... I need to get back to this question. You asked me that, is because it was a little over 2 years ago. It was during the pandemic when the government was printing money. And everyone that's paying attention to the economy right now notices that interest rates are going up. It's to combat inflation, which was what was caused the last few years when the money was printed. And I saw a statistic, and I should have looked this up because I'm not going to remember the numbers, but it was like the majority of all the U.S. dollars in circulation have been printed within the last like few years, which was crazy to me. And so I remember hearing that, and up until that point, I had always thought that Bitcoin was like a scam, or a joke. Brock, my friend Brock, he had always tried to get me into crypto or Bitcoin,
Yeah, I
and
know,
I'm
yeah.
like Brock, like that's such a joke, like no way. And now, who's laughing now? But anyways, I didn't like the idea that every day more dollars were being printed, which means that the value of my bank account, like the purchasing power, was going down, because that's how inflation works. Prices were going up. I didn't like that, and I wanted to hedge against it, and so that's when I started really investing more into stocks and stuff, and that's how I found out about Bitcoin. Basically, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and you can't create any more. Like, no one can. You can't create any more. The dollar, there's like infinite, right? The government can just print money whenever they want. no one can make Bitcoin. That 21 million Bitcoin is being found. It's called mined by computers that run very complex algorithms. That's a long story, but basically computers can find Bitcoin, and to date, I think almost 19 million have been found. So there's only 2 million left.
Wasn't there a guy that we knew that, or you kind of knew of him, or maybe knew him that had like an account, but he couldn't remember his password to it, and he has like a ton in there because he's
Yeah.
never touched it or
Well,
anything, right?
there's a lot of people like that. So the problem with that, actually, I'll get to that in a little bit. Don't let me forget because that's another story. But basically, the idea with Bitcoin is there's only a certain amount. No one can create it. No one can print it. You can't really hack it. It's decentralized. You don't need a bank. So it's cool. It just works. And so that's kind of what got me into crypto. The problem, though, is that you hold your cryptocurrency either on a centralized exchange, so it's just kind of like a bank, but it's a crypto exchange. So something like Binance, like the shirt I'm wearing, crypto.com, Robinhood kind of, I guess, Coinbase, exchanges like that. You can hold it there, or if you don't want to have a third party, which is kind of the whole point of crypto, you can hold it on your own crypto wallet. So you can have an app or just a physical, like a hardware wallet. The problem, though, is that if you lose your seed phrase, the seed phrase is like a password for crypto. It's just 12 words. It's just a random string of words, and that's what you use to access your crypto. If you forget that or if you lose it, it's just gone. Like, so I know a guy from when I was working at Vivint, one of my customers, he has $10 million of Bitcoin in his hardware wallet, but he just doesn't know the seed phrase. He wrote it down somewhere and lost it. And it's impossible to guess because, I mean, there's a few thousand.
Is there nothing to say like forgot password?
No, so that's the thing. So that goes back to the whole like crypto's decentralized. So like with a bank, let's say you have $10 million in your bank account and you just forget about it. You can click forget password, go to your email, or forgot your email. Like you can recover it, right? You can go to the bank and say, hey, this is my ID. You can see that I signed up for this account. I just forgot my info. Like, please give me back in. So that's like a good thing about centralization is that there's someone in charge. But with Bitcoin, there's no one in charge. So you forget your seed phrase, there's no one that can help you. There's no forgot password. There's no not like it's just gone.
It's so sad. Like, why would he use something so weird that he can't remember anything? Oh, that'd be horrible.
I know, but it's also because a lot of people bought Bitcoin early. Like he didn't put $10 million in. He put like $100 in like 2011.
Right, and then over time, it just got
But the
bigger.
problem is that a lot of people in the early days of Bitcoin were just saying, hey, let's just throw some money in and see what happens. And then just kind of forgot about it. And then by the time it was worth something, couldn't remember your passphrase. So that's one of the cons. Like it's nice to be decentralized. It's nice that no one can control it. Like there's political unrest around the world. If a government doesn't like you, they can turn off your bank account. They can turn off your credit cards. Like look what's happening to Kanye. Not saying Kanye's right or wrong, but I think what's happening to him is sad. Like he said he got locked out of his bank account. Whole bunch of stuff. No one can do that with crypto. It's funny because the Canadian government actually asked some of the decentralized wallet providers to say, hey, like, can you have your customers, like, can you give us a list of your customers or freeze their funds because of this, or this? And they said, sorry, like, we can't. We don't know who our customers are. Like, we're just provide the framework for people to get their own cryptocurrency wallet. And so it's cool. Like, no one can.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, they're kind of, I feel like for this to actually work, for that mass adoption to happen, kind of like I was talking about earlier, there needs to be some mix of centralization. Maybe not, but then we just need a lot of education. We just need to tell people, like, hey, if you're going to get into this, you need to understand, like, do not lose your seed phrase, like, but I don't know, maybe there needs to be some mix. The centralization aspect, I don't think it should come from the government because people already don't really trust the government. But then the question is, who does it come from? Is there some company that does it? It's tough.
Why don't you start it?
Well, because that's the thing, because I don't even know if I want to, because
Oh.
I wouldn't even use it as a person. Because, like, people that know crypto and understand it, we don't want a middleman. Like, we don't want any form of centralization. Like, I am 100% okay with the risk that if I lose my seed phrase, it's gone. But that's not super friendly for new people coming into the industry, So we have to figure something out there.
It's just confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing.
I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering if Jonas talks to me about crypto and kind of, but not a lot. You might say a little thing to me here and there, but I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
Basically.
when I first started getting into crypto, and again, we could talk for hours about this, but I've just been talking about Bitcoin. There's thousands of other cryptocurrencies that are different. So like I said, Bitcoin only has 21 million. There's other cryptocurrencies that have a total supply of 1 quadrillion. There's others that don't have a max supply. The creators can just keep minting more. So there's so many different cryptocurrencies. There's some that are pegged to the US dollar, so it never really changes in value. It's just $1. So that way you can keep your money in crypto without worrying about it losing value. So much stuff. But when I first started getting into it, I don't know if you remember, I kind of told you like what I was doing, and I just got really lucky. I mean, I started looking into crypto about the same time that probably like right before a lot of other people did, because in 2020 and 2021 was really when the crypto market boomed. Like I first bought Bitcoin at $10,000 and it hit a high of $60,000 last year. So I got pretty lucky. And I'd already been trading stocks for a little bit, so I kind of knew, how to read charts and, buy low, sell high. So I made a lot of money 2020 and 2021. And I think I kind of told you about it, but you're just like, yeah, I don't even know what's happening. Yeah. It's just magic internet money.
I know a lot of people will be like, oh, what does your husband do? I'm like, oh, he works with SafeMoon, like a crypto company, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, well, like, what's that? And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you, but it's really cool. I'm like, when he worked at Vivint, his bosses that make tons of money, like, asked him to, like, they, like, were paying Jonas to, like, tell them, like, when to, like, go in and out of stocks and how to do crypto, and he was doing all these things for him, and I'm just like, yeah, my husband's pretty cool. He knows how to do all that stuff that most people don't understand.
Little disclaimer.
It's kind of fun.
It's not going great right now. Like all the money that I made, I mean, I've lost probably most of it. Not all of it, but I've lost the majority of it just because, I mean, that's just crypto. It goes up and down, I still do. I manage a big pool of money, a bunch of friends, people I used to work with, and it's not doing great right now. They remind me all the time, but like, I just say, just be patient because it's very volatile. The markets go up and down. But one of your questions was, what do I do? Because I work in the industry. So I work for a company that has a decentralized exchange. So think of an exchange as kind of like a marketplace for cryptocurrencies. So like, it's kind of like a stock exchange, but just for crypto. And so I'm in charge of the sales department. And so I manage all of the sales basically for cryptocurrencies that want to get listed and that want marketing done, because we do a lot of marketing. So basically I sell marketing packages. I find cryptocurrencies that we think have potential, that are promising. I handle all the communication, bring them on, work out a marketing plan, get them listed on our exchange, logistics there. So it's really fun because like a lot of what I do for work, I do anyways, just because I just like trading cryptocurrencies, and I'm always like reading up about it, and I stay pretty up to date. So it's been a fun job for me because I went into it like already knowing like a lot, most of what I needed to know. I'm already deep in that world. And so it's been fun. And then just the longer I've been in it, the bigger of a network I've grown. So now I know a lot of people, a lot of the big marketers and players in the space. And so it's cool. It's a fun industry to work in. It's also kind of stressful because it's just so up and down. It's like a roller coaster. Like the market can crash and then
stresses me
and then work will kind of suck for a little bit, But that's what I do. I do sales for a crypto company that has an exchange. So that's the simple way to put it.
And just to let you guys know, Jonas was so excited for today's topic because he was like, I can really dive into this. This is something I can really talk about that I know. And I feel like, like our podcast, like,
this is like Mykayla talking about shopping.
Yeah, like, yeah. So it's like Jonas is like, I feel happy for Jonas that he kind of like has his own little moment to like dive in and talk about something that
it also kind of stresses me out though, because I know that this stuff is very confusing, and I've just even made people more confused up to this point. We're 20 minutes in, and I don't even know if I've done a good job explaining it. So it's really hard, but it's something that I mean, part of the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I really do believe in the technology and and that it works. Like just the fact that like you don't need a middleman. Like you can control your own money. Like I've run into issues before, like sending friends money for different things. Like Venmo has limits, Apple Pay has limits. You know, like you want to send a wire, cool, that's $20, and then you have to go through the whole process of sending a wire from one bank to another. Like it's just the financial system's just kind of clunky. You know, like you want to send the Venmo to your bank, you got to wait 3 days, or you got to pay a fee. You know, like I can send infinite amount of money to a friend halfway across the world, all the way across the world, in 3 seconds for a few cents, and it's done. No middleman, like not like it just works perfectly. So like I'm super passionate about. And there's so many other cool things about it. I think that's the coolest thing. It's just you control your money. There's no middleman. You don't have to wait on anyone else. Like just power to the people, sort of thing. And especially like there's a lot of developing countries like Africa. More people in Africa have a smartphone than have a bank account. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
So it's like, what's the answer for those that don't have access to a bank account? Just crypto. If you have a smartphone, you can get a crypto wallet on your
So
phone.
they just have crypto then?
A lot of them do, yeah. Crypto is a really big thing, and another good example of its use case is inflation. We think it's bad here because gas is going up. Inflation is terrible, terrible around the world. Like there's some countries in South America where like if you don't spend your paycheck as soon as you get it, like it's just worthless, you know, just because money changes so much. And so in a lot of countries like South America in particular, people want to get paid in Bitcoin. I'd much rather get paid in Bitcoin than their own currency.
But does that have anything to do with capitalism too? At
Um,
all or not really?
no, inflation is not really about capitalism. Inflation is just about government
Oh.
controlling the money.
Oh.
So,
Well, yeah, so I'm saying if they control the money, how would that work with like crypto?
so that's a good question because governments like control, obviously, and so I would imagine they do not like what they're seeing with crypto, and you can tell they don't like just from the regulation stuff they've tried to pass. It's so hard because it's such a new thing that they don't even know how to regulate it. But governments want control, and so governments are starting to create their own currencies.
No way.
Yeah, they're called CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. But the problem with that, though, is it's like it kind of defeats the whole point of cryptocurrency, you know, or not the whole point, but a big point of it, big selling point is that it's not, you know, tied to if the government creates their own currency, let's just call it like US dollar coin, okay, which kind of is already a thing, but and they don't like you, they can just move all of your crypto from your account whenever they want because that's centralized. They have control. No one can do that with Bitcoin,
Yeah.
you know.
That's terrible.
So
Could
it's
you
it's
imagine?
a hard selling point, you know. Like I get that governments want to get in on the action, you know, like they don't want to give up that control, but I feel like they're just gonna have to give in, you know, because um, it's like why create one? It's already been done. Like Bitcoin already exists. Like Bitcoin's not perfect, you know. Um, Bitcoin can't handle very many transactions per second, so the TPS is kind of slow. The fees are a bit higher than other cryptocurrencies, the gas fees, like for trading. So it's not perfect, but the cool thing about Bitcoin is that it's the one truly decentralized cryptocurrency because the guy, man, woman group, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever made it, we don't know where they are. We don't know who they are. The last we heard from that person was on a forum online in like 2012, I think. So this person just came out of nowhere, created Bitcoin,
And it's not even their
disappeared.
real name. Or is it
Yeah,
their real name?
no, the real name is not Satoshi Nakamoto. That's just the name they went by. And again, we don't know if it's a man, woman, a group of people. And so this person just
I
shows
just don't
up.
get why they'd want to be secretive. I feel like we've talked about this before, like a long time ago, but
I don't know. I mean, no one really knows. Like that, if that person's still alive, if it is
are
a
they
person.
making a ton of money off Bitcoin then, or no? Because they're
Well,
not.
I mean, you don't make money off Bitcoin, but that person has a whole bunch of Bitcoin probably because they started it, you know. So if that person were still alive, they'd probably be, whether or not they're still alive, probably the richest person on earth with how much Bitcoin I assume that person has. And just the fact you can say, I created Bitcoin, you know, like all the power and prestige that comes with that. So it's really interesting, you know, what happened to this person. If they're still alive, they just want to lay low. But it's cool. Like it's such a service because every other cryptocurrency has someone that's in charge of it. Someone that created, like Satoshi created it and then like decentralized it. So no one really, like, there's Bitcoin developers, there's a Bitcoin foundation, but there's no real centralization there. And so Bitcoin has the greatest chance of not being labeled a security by the SEC.
Could you imagine being like that cool to like start that? I don't.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean, he's a
genius.
genius. Yeah, it's changing the world. Crypto has a $1 trillion market cap and it's only growing. So crazy stuff. I've got some questions for you though, Mykayla.
Hit me.
Do you think most people understand crypto?
No.
Yeah, I'd agree with
I
that.
mean, I feel like a lot more, like when I talk to my friends, their husbands understand it more, but even then, a lot of times they don't even know. Like, they're like, I need to get on that, or I need to learn that, or, oh, since your husband knows, you need to have him teach my husband, because I heard crypto and stuff, like, that market's real, it's really cool, but no one really understands it.
hmm It's funny you say that because I thought I understood it, but I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but like one of my favorite charts of all time is it's like a U curve. So the x-axis is how much you know. So from here you know very little to here you know a lot. The y-axis is how much you think you know. And it's a perfect U because when you start something, usually you think you know a lot about it, and then the more you learn, the more you realize you know less. But then the more you learn, then you realize, okay, now I am learning more. And that's 100% that was me. Like 2 days into learning about crypto, I thought I knew everything. And I made a bunch of money off Bitcoin. And then, I thought I was a genius. And then a few months go by and I realized like, oh, I don't even know how I made that money. Now I understand how I made it, right? And then a few more months go by, I realize, oh, I didn't even know like what a liquidity pool is. Like I don't even know what market cap means. All these things. And so now I'm at the point where I do feel like I do know a lot, but yeah, most people just buy it. Like they just see it as like gambling or like stocks. They just say, oh, cool, I'll buy Bitcoin, I'll buy
I
Dogecoin,
feel like everyone thinks it's stocks. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, so I would agree. Do you personally understand what it is?
No.
What about
But
now?
I
I've been
feel
talking
like
for 30
now
minutes.
better, yeah, but like I still feel like it's not enough to really understand, but I mean, I feel like for all the girls out there, for your husband, boyfriend, whatever, I feel like hopefully Jonas has been able to teach you a small amount of something today. So hopefully if you guys are listening, tuning into this episode, that you guys can be able to tell them like something you learned, and then you might even sound cooler than them,
That's
which
right.
I think is pretty cool. Because now I feel like I can maybe say a little bit now, more than I did before. So
be honest, do you care about cryptocurrency?
from listening to what you've told me, I think it's really cool and it's important, and I think like I'm curious to see how it's gonna like end up in the next few years and like what will happen. But like I'd know.
No.
I don't know. I just don't know how to
answer.
use it. So like no, like I feel like it's not important to me. But since you're doing it and you know how to do it, then I'm like great. So I just don't have to worry about it. It's another thing I don't have to deal with in life, which is nice.
True, that's a good way of putting it.
So with crypto, can it actually make a ton of money?
Okay, good question. So a common misconception about cryptocurrency is that its point is to make you money. I feel like that's what everyone just thinks. Like,
But then you can like lose money. Can you just take that money out whenever you want?
yeah.
Oh.
If I had done
Okay.
that, we'd be sitting pretty right now. But so look at it like this: like the point of cryptocurrency is not to make money, not at all. It's not. It's not to invest. It's not to trade. Like the point of cryptocurrency is to have that decentralized finance system. You control your money. You can send it to whomever you want as fast as you want, with very low fees. Just cutting out the middleman on the blockchain so it can't be hacked, right? Can't be manipulated, can't be printed.
But then it's weird because yet you make money off of it.
Yes, I'll explain that. So the point of cryptocurrency is not to make money. It's for all those reasons, but because those are good reasons, the price of cryptocurrency has gone up. It's because of supply and demand.
Just complicated.
Well, think about it this way. Bitcoin has a fixed supply, okay? It's only 21 million that will ever exist. The demand when it started, when Satoshi first put out the Bitcoin white paper, there was no demand for Bitcoin because everyone thought like that's crazy, like it's kind of a joke. And then little by little, people would start buying it. And so the price started out at like a cent. And then it went up, 10 cents, 25 cents. Then it hit $1. Then it hit $10. Then it hit $100.
So what is it now if you want crypto? Or
You mean Bitcoin?
Or Bitcoin, yeah.
If you want to buy a Bitcoin right now, it's like $16,000 for one, but you can buy just a piece of it. So you can buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and you'll have that.
So how much did you buy?
When? I've bought a lot. I've bought a lot and I've sold a lot. When I first started, I put $1,000 into Bitcoin when it was at $10,000. So I bought a tenth of a Bitcoin.
Now what?
Now how much do I have? Or what is that at now? Because since then I've bought and sold a lot.
Okay.
So this is how you asked, like, where does the money come from? So it's like this. So there's a fixed amount of Bitcoin. Again, the point's not to make money, but the idea is that as it gets more popular, there's going to be more demand. More people will want Bitcoin. More people want to hedge against inflation. More people want to bet on the technology. More people want to bet on blockchain technology. More people want to diversify in their investments. As more people want to buy Bitcoin, the price goes up. Just because that's the demand. That's what it's selling at. So the point is not to make money, but you can make a lot of money because it's so volatile. Because like also when the price goes up, a lot of people are in crypto just to make money. There's a lot of people in crypto that don't even care about the technology. They just know it's a good way to make money. Well, it's a risky way to make money. I wouldn't say good way. But this is where the money comes from. Let's say I buy Bitcoin at $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first time I sold Bitcoin, it was at like $25,000. That was a few months later. Just because more people wanted to buy it, so the price goes up. And so I sell it, and I sold it on an exchange. I used crypto.com. And so I got that money, and I could have just sent it straight to my bank account.
But you put it into more.
Yeah, I waited for Bitcoin to go down because it's always going up and down because a bunch of people buy, which means the price goes up. A bunch of people sell, which means it goes down. So I waited. That's called swing trading. So that's what I did for a long time is I would swing trade. I swing traded.
You're swinging?
I was swinging Bitcoin and Litecoin. So I would buy it. I would look at the charts. I would sell it when I thought it was at its peak, wait for it to dip. I'd buy it, sell it, buy it. I got extremely lucky. I'd say extremely lucky because like I didn't really know what I was doing, and luckily I just happened to like time every single peak and dip like perfectly.
Yeah, but then you lost it all.
I'm getting to that. I didn't lose all of it. Okay, hold on. So, anyways, extremely lucky. So I made a ton of money just swing trading, and then I got into day trading, which is awesome. I think everyone should day trade for at least a week. I think like every single person in the world should like do a 1 week day trading boot camp because so many lessons to be learned. Like probably the greatest of which is like if you day trade and you do it right, like you can make so much money. And I think the idea is if everyone made a ton of money and lost a ton of money within a span of a few days, it'd be a very different world because your perception on like money and things that matter drastically changes. Because I have made crazy amounts of money in like 1 day from day trading, and the majority of the time I lose all of that like the next day. But like I am so much more emotionally stable, I think, from that because so like little things like don't really bug me. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But anyway, so I got into day trading, which was more like I wouldn't day trade Bitcoin. I would find like very small coins, like very, very small ones that someone had just started, like a random one with some different idea. Because every cryptocurrency is different. Some of them there's a tax on it. So when you buy into a certain token, 10% is taken away, and that gets redistributed to the rest of the holders. So the idea is that if you hold it, you keep getting more. Just an example. There's thousands of different cryptocurrencies. But I started day trading, and so I did make a lot of money. Most of that money that I made, I lost because I didn't sell it. So made money. You didn't really make money on paper if you don't sell. So I would buy in. So like there was one, that I put like $1,000 in. This was about a year ago, and I got in really, really early. I found this token, and it looked like a good deal. I liked what the developers were doing with it. I saw they had a whole bunch of marketing planned, so I put $1,000 in, and then a few days later, that $1,000 was worth $100,000. just because more and more people had caught on. I was just lucky to be early.
Yeah, I kind of remember this.
You remember that
yeah,
one?
And you were like
And
getting
I
all
was
excited
like,
every day.
I was like, man, this is awesome. Like this is a great deal. Didn't end up selling. I did end up selling, but not until it had dropped from like $100,000 to like $10,000. So still made a lot of money, but lost a lot of potential money. There's plenty more where I put in $1,000 and then it just goes poof the next day, like the developers just rug pull. Or there's others where I put in $1,000 and then it just never really goes anywhere, then just kind of slowly tanks. There was one, I still have it just because it's funny. I put in $5,000. This was like when I was early in crypto. I put in $5,000 and today it's worth like $12.
Really?
Yep. So I still have the same amount of coins that I bought of this cryptocurrency. Still the exact same amount, but when I bought it, it was worth $5,000. Went up a bit.
Wait, so how much did you pay for it?
$5,000.
Oh, okay.
So it's like,
that's how much it was worth.
yeah.
So
So the coin I bought like 3 million of these coins, just a different cryptocurrency, and so I still have 3 million of those coins, but it's just worth a lot less now.
Do you think it will go back up?
No, there's no shot.
So you just wasted $5,000.
Yes, I
And
wasted.
you get mad at me for shopping.
Okay, but hold on. I've also
This
made
is
a
gonna
lot.
turn into a big argument.
I've also it evens itself out. I've also made a lot. I'm just saying that's probably one of my biggest losses.
Was that with your money or our money? My money.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you want to define it, but that was before you were working, so that was probably my money.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. But
do you think crypto will ever fail, or like
no, I don't think
not
so.
be a thing?
No, there's no way. I mean, I think it's like I like to relate it to the .com bubble like 20 years ago. You probably don't know what that is. So this was like 2000, 2001. A lot of tech stocks were like the big thing, like tech companies like Amazon, Pets.com. You've probably never even heard of Pets.com.
Mm-mm.
All
Have you?
these, yes, because I'm getting to it. All these tech companies, this was like the next big thing. People were getting really excited about tech. People were getting really excited about tech stocks. And it became so overvalued that like the bubble popped, it crashed. And so like 90% of those companies just failed. They didn't make it. But the ones that did survive are now Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, And so that's kind of where we are right now with crypto. Like and to some extent, I think we've mostly popped it this year. I think this year's actually been really good. People will look at me, they're like, this year's probably been terrible for you. I'm like, yeah, for my investments, if I'm going to sell, which I'm not, I'm in this long term, but I think this has been really good for crypto market overall because the majority of cryptocurrencies are going to fail if they haven't already. A lot of them already have. Like how I said, there's thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies. Majority of them should fail because we don't really need that many. But the big ones, they're going to make it. So Bitcoin is going to be like Amazon, like Ethereum, it's going to be like Microsoft. Like the big ones that actually work, that a lot of people use, that are solid, those ones will make it. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's been good. Like the crashes that have happened this year, I don't know, good is relative. It's never good when people lose money or when investors lose money or when there's fraud. There's been a lot of that, which is unfortunate. That happens a lot in the industry. But the overall lesson of this year from all the different crypto crashes, whether it's just been a crypto coin that's crashed, whether it's been an exchange that's crashed, there's been multiple exchanges that have crashed and burned. The overall lesson is don't be over leveraged. Do you know what that means? You know what that means?
No.
Like don't be in debt and don't trade on debt. Don't trade other people's money. People were over leveraged and overconfident because the last 2021 was so good for crypto. It was just such a good year. So people got overconfident, they got over leveraged, and that popped. So I think it's a good lesson for people to learn is like, A, don't trade with money you don't have. Like, B, be smart with it, right? Just understand. Like when I started investing money for other people, like friends and stuff, I said, I want you to understand there is a real possibility. There's a non-zero chance that this all just goes to zero. Like you just lose all your money. This isn't like buying an Apple stock where it could go up, could go down, but they're not going to go bankrupt. You're like crypto, there's a very real chance you could lose all your money. Long term though, like Bitcoin's never going away. Blockchain technology is never going away. It just makes sense. So long term, we'll be fine. Short term, like there's going to be up and downs. I think a lot of people learned a lot of lessons this year, which is good. Another one of those lessons is kind of how we were talking about decentralization. So, that person I told you who lost $10 million because he couldn't remember his password. Well, there's other people. I have friends that also lost a lot of money because they had their money in centralized exchanges that went bankrupt. So they lost their crypto, which is why I try and keep all of my crypto on my own hardware wallet. Because a lot of my crypto right now is on crypto.com, which is a centralized exchange. If they go bankrupt, if they go under, I probably won't get any of my money back. But if I forget my password to my crypto.com app, they can reset it for me.
That's good.
See, so there's the pros and cons of centralization. So if that makes much sense.
It hurts my head. I've learned too much and I'm dying.
Okay, let's do a few more questions.
Okay,
Hopefully
well, I just want to know, like, would you consider this like a normal job? Like, is this a normal job to you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because it's so different just because the cryptocurrency world, like my job performance is very much directly tied to the market. So Q1 and Q3 of this year were both pretty good, and so that's when I did very well. Q2 was really bad because that was the first big crash. And so far, the last month has been really bad because there's been another big crash, So, and we say in the crypto world, we all say like one day in crypto is like 1,000 days for the rest of the world. Just 'cause it moves so fast, like because it's so new technology. People are always trying to push the envelope. People are always trying to do new things. It moves so fast, and so it's kind of stressful, and like it's so global. Just people at my company, I work with people that are, a lot of our employees are in London or Australia. Those are two hubs, and so if Australia, they're like 11 hours ahead of us, I think. And so like time zones are so hard to work out. Like I do a lot of calls with people that, have cryptocurrencies that are based in Dubai. Time zone's crazy. I've done a lot of like really late calls, really early calls. So it's definitely not a normal job. It's crazy. It's fun. I love it. I like working in the industry, but yeah, definitely not normal.
It's like me. I don't feel normal sometimes.
It is like you.
Especially being a gymnast, I feel like my life was never normal. But who's to say what normal is,
It is true.
So how do you buy and sell it?
So that's a good question. So there's there's 3 ways to buy and sell crypto. So one, probably least common, but just peer to peer. So like I can send you Bitcoin and then you'll just give me cash. That's one way. I've done that with some friends that don't want to do the other ways. You can just Venmo me, or you can just give me, cash. You create your own cryptocurrency wallet. I can send it to you. So that's one way to buy and sell crypto, just with people you know. Definitely not the most common. The 2 most common are used a centralized exchange or used a decentralized exchange. Centralized exchange, kind of like I was talking about earlier, like Binance. Binance, the biggest one. They're pretty good. Again, pros and cons. With a centralized exchange, you can reset your password if you forget it. There's some, I shouldn't even go into that. Some people claim there's insurance and stuff, but your funds are insured. Basically the pro of a centralized exchange is it's easy. It's easy to sign up for. They do KYC, which means know your customers. So that's why it's centralized. They know who you are. You can direct deposit or ACH money from your bank to your centralized exchange. And I should say the one clear advantage of centralized exchanges is there's fiat on and off ramps. Fiat just means like dollar bills or your country's currency. On and off ramps means on a centralized exchange, you can turn dollar bills into crypto and crypto into dollar bills. So that's why a centralized exchange is nice, because they have those regulations from the government. Like they have compliance and everything. You can do that. You can buy Bitcoin with dollars. You can sell Bitcoin into dollars, send it back to your bank.
But how much money would you want to take from your bank and put in there?
That is
risky to have a lot sitting in there, or is it good to have a lot sitting there because it's
it's
safe
up to
and
you.
No one...
It's what your own risk tolerance is. So obviously not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't really say. But it's different for everyone. But so on a centralized exchange, there's order books. You can buy and sell crypto. That's one. That's probably the most popular way. Second, you can use a decentralized exchange. A decentralized exchange, it's kind of like the company I work for. We have one. There's no KYC, which means the company doesn't know who you are. So when you sign up for Binance, you need to put, your name, your birthday, your social, proof of ID. They need to know who you are, tax purposes, stuff like that. With a decentralized exchange, you just create a wallet and you just hook up to it and you can trade any cryptocurrency. But because of that, there's no fiat on and off ramps. So you can't sell on a decentralized exchange like Bitcoin for dollars. It just kind of stays in crypto. But with a decentralized exchange that uses what's called liquidity pools, which is cool because you can, on a decentralized exchange, you can only buy Bitcoin if it's actually there. And someone doesn't have to actively be selling it. It's not like Facebook Marketplace, or it's not like Craigslist. There's just a liquidity pool. So there's a pool of Bitcoin and there's pairings, which means because you're not buying it with dollars on a decentralized exchange, because decentralized is just all crypto. DeFi is decentralized finance. And so there's a pool with a lot of like Bitcoin in it and the pairings of like other coins that you trade for it. So Bitcoin Ethereum, Bitcoin USDT, Tether, that's one of the coins that's pegged to the dollar. In a centralized, so it actually has to be there. In a centralized exchange, I mean, there's liquidity, but they use market makers. So there's order books, and there's a big exchange that just collapsed, FTX. It's been in the news. So a lot of people probably know about that. And one of their biggest problems is that they weren't actually, how do I put this? That makes sense. The money that was on FTX wasn't really on FTX, if that makes sense. No, it does. That doesn't, does it? Yes, you're nodding.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, I'm just trying to explain this as simple as possible. If I'm buying Bitcoin on a decentralized exchange, it's literally on the blockchain. All those notepads that are writing stuff down, I can check the blockchain and say, oh yes, in this liquidity pool, there is exactly this much Bitcoin. I can buy it and I can see it move exactly into my wallet. It's there. On FTX or on a centralized exchange, they just say, hey, we have this much Bitcoin. You buy it, and there's just an amount in your app showing, hey, you have this much. Doesn't really mean it's there. And then they were, there's a whole lot that goes into it. They were taking customer funds, using it to trade, losing money, blah, blah, blah. So what happened was people tried to withdraw their money, and they couldn't because there's not enough liquidity. In a decentralized exchange, like, you don't need to withdraw your money because it's yours. So that's like the cool thing. Like a bank, you have to withdraw money from a bank if you want your money, if you don't want it in the bank anymore. That's why crypto is cool if it's decentralized. You don't have to worry about withdrawing it. It's just yours. You already have it. You're your own ATM. So that's hopefully it. Hopefully most of that made sense.
I don't know. I think I have a headache.
Okay, but that answers the question. How do you buy or sell cryptocurrency? So if you're a beginner, just sign up for Binance US or Crypto.com. You can use that. And then as you learn more, definitely I would recommend trading on a decentralized exchange, using your own decentralized hardware wallet.
Listen to Jonas. He knows what he's talking about.
I try.
So why do so many people become obsessed with buying crypto?
So I think the problem is because for such a long time, it's been a good way to make money. It kind of gets you hooked on that.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, so like,
Speaking of you,
look at it objectively. Like, Bitcoin is the highest performing asset of all time. That means nothing has ever increased in price to the extent that Bitcoin has. So not gold, not any stocks. I mean, there's some crazy, like Amazon, that's
right.
very high appreciating, but still doesn't come close to Bitcoin. Artwork, okay, like maybe some Da Vinci paintings or Van Gogh, like when they first painted them, not worth a lot. Now they're worth millions, okay, stuff like that. But like Bitcoin beats everything, and so the issue that, and like think about that. There's other cryptocurrencies, like the smaller it is, the greater it is, the greater chance it is to have higher returns, just because the market cap's low. So a lot of people get addicted to seeing those, just that dopamine hit of, hey, I just 10x'd my money in 2 seconds, Even if you lose it, you're just always hunting that 10x again, that 100x, that 2x. So I think that's why a lot of people get obsessed with it, is just because
It's like a video
it's like
game.
gambling. Yeah, it's like a video game. It's pretty unhealthy, when it gets to that point. Like, why do people get obsessed with slot machines? You go into a casino and you see all these zombies just sitting there doing their slots. It's because every once in a while you win, you get all that money. I think crypto's way better than gambling, but there's a lot of similarities.
It's crazy. Okay, last question.
Okay.
Okay, so when people talk about crypto, it sounds like another language. Where do you learn all that lingo?
That is a good question, and I think that's the most important question that I want to leave with people. Hopefully this has been educational and helpful. Hopefully you know a little bit more about crypto and blockchain by now, but maybe I just confused you even more. So it's hard because, again, it's so new. There's not a whole lot of like established education channels. There is a lot, but there also is a lot. It's kind of hard to know what's legit or not. My go-to for like simple, good good ways to like learn and understand crypto and stuff. There's a YouTube channel called Whiteboard Crypto. Super cool. They like explain it very simply and they draw it out, like on a whiteboard. And they make analogies and references and stuff. So it makes sense. So I like Whiteboard Crypto. There's a lot of other YouTube channels that I watch. Honestly, there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. If there's misinformation, it usually doesn't really get that big because at this point, people know what they're talking about. So I would go on YouTube, what is Bitcoin? Even go online. Like, you just type in what is Bitcoin. There's a whole bunch of articles, stuff that makes sense. So, that's really what I did when I kind of started looking into it. I just Googled, what is Bitcoin? And then I just read, like, every single article on the first page of Google so I could understand it.
But if you're like me, I hate reading, so I'd stick to
Okay,
YouTube.
if you hate reading, then just do the same thing, but with YouTube, because that's what I did. So what is Bitcoin? I read every article. What is cryptocurrency? Every article on the first page. What is blockchain technology? Then I got a pretty good understanding of it. But if you don't want to do that, just go to YouTube. What is Bitcoin? Just see what video has the most views, because that's probably because it has that many views and hasn't been taken down means it's legit. Again, there's where it comes to speculation, like, don't ever take someone's word on like price predictions and stuff. No one knows that. No one knows what price Bitcoin is going to be at a month from now, a year from now, a day from now. No one knows. So I'd be careful about that sort of stuff, looking up price stuff. But the technology behind it, there's a lot of really good videos that explain it. There's a lot of really good articles that explain it. Again, Whiteboard Crypto is a really easy one to understand. But there's a lot of crypto people too that break down concepts, make it simple. So that's what I would say. Hit up YouTube, hit up Google. The more you read too, the more you'll understand. The more you watch, the more you'll understand. It's good to get different perspectives because everyone explains crypto a different way.
So now you're saying I need to go study crypto?
Yeah, I think everyone should.
Oh no.
I think it should be a class, like how financial literacy is a class.
That would be kind of cool.
I really think crypto, or not even crypto, I think blockchain technology should be a class and its applications.
Well, maybe you could be a professor. Teach it.
That'd
be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool. We'll see. So
Okay.
hopefully that was a good crash course on crypto.
I learned a lot.
I'm glad you learned a lot.
I mean, my head hurts because that was a lot to take in, but
it is a lot to take in, but do some studying. Today's assumption is you actually have very different hobbies, but still have more in common than you would think. Okay, we're going to say if we agree or disagree on 3, but I need to digest this one more time.
Yeah, can you read it one more time?
Okay, yeah. I read it before, but
Same.
So you actually have very different hobbies, but still have more in common than you would think. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Agree.
Ooh.
Okay,
nice. Why do you agree on that?
I agree because we're both very athletic. We're both super competitive. I don't know. I feel like we just...
No, I that's exactly it, because we don't really have the same hobbies at all.
No.
We do not like to do this. Like, you like shopping.
You like hiking.
I like hiking.
You like
outdoors.
You like... I hate the outdoors.
Yeah, I like outdoors. You like indoors. Like, we have very different hobbies, but it's like the things that aren't hobbies are what we have in common. Like, our personalities are pretty similar. Mm-hmm. Our senses of humor are pretty similar. So
like, super competitive.
We're both really competitive. So, yeah, I would agree with that. We have different hobbies, but we still have more in common than you would think.
Yeah.
So it's a rare agree from us. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts about crypto below. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions, ask them. I'll hop in the comments, see if I can respond to some.
I will probably not be in those comments.
Yeah, it'll say Mykayla Skinner, but it'll be me if he's responding to a crypto comment. Don't forget to leave a rating if you're on Apple or Spotify. Those really help boost our numbers there.
And I think that's it.
That's it. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Like always, every Friday we'll have a new episode for you. We have a fun one coming next week, so tune in.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to chime in a little bit more on that
No,
one.
I know the topic of next one, and it's very much a you topic.
Good, I like that.
It's a disagree topic. I can tell you right now. Yeah.
Fun. Well,
So-
I'm excited.
Tune in. We'll see you guys next week.
And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. We love you guys.